Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Aries energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. They're going to be harnessing this energy differently depending on if they harness high vibe Aries energy, a more worldly focused Aries energy, or a more shadowy Aries energy. Aries energy is about the self, and some people are still all about themselves. And they could be prideful, egotistical, narcissistic, think everything should be all about them. And then there's other people that are more trying to focus on things of the world, maybe being a leader in the world, focusing on their career. But some of them are more motivated and inspired by the world and things of the world, whatever they want to indulge in, or ego and image. And high vibe Aries energy are people who are a leader in the world and have realized that love is what makes it all worthwhile. And they're making good decisions in their life, they're making good decisions in the relationships they're in, and love is the guiding factor instead of themself or the world. So listen to your intuition about where you're at in the story. We all tap into Aries energy in some shape or form. So whoops, wrong deck. Let's see. I'm going to get some cards out of this Intuit deck to see what it wants to add to the story. Okay. We have two cards that aren't showing themselves, and the reason it came out is because of children. What's not showing itself is being responsible with your sexual energy is wise. To truly honor the source of your being, live from the flow of your heart. And with these cards not showing themselves, that can mean that what some people don't know about people is they have learned these lessons. Aries is fiery nature, and that can be our sexual nature. All these things we kind of want to go indulge in the world. We can misuse it if we want, just like we can misuse our emotions and our creativity and our intuition and our mind, kind of like being a scammer in the world. Or we can listen to our intuition and use the gifts that we've been given in a high vibe way. And it's kind of like honoring the gifts that we've been given instead of misusing them. And the children card can be about kind of having that hopeful, believing spirit and wanting to be in deep, meaningful relationships. And there's other people that are trying to present themselves as maybe someone who wants to be in a deep, meaningful relationship, but they misuse their mind and their intuition and their emotions and their sexuality and all those things to try to manipulate people. So the overarching reason for the reading is the Justice card. And underneath that is the Aries card of the Fool. We're all going to do what we think is just and fair. Life's about learning lessons. Some people have learned some lessons that some other people haven't. Everybody's going to do what they think is just and fair. The people who are more about themselves are probably going to continue to be more about themselves. The people who are more about the world are going to continue to probably do that, and that will be what drives and motivates them. And the people who have hope and faith and belief and love are going to take a leap of faith to be inspired by truth and love to get their like divine inheritance. And the end reading of it is the Emperor, which is Aries energy. So let's go see what's going on in Aries energy. We have the Knight of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the reason is because of the Two of Swords. High vibe people are connected in with their emotions and their intuition to guide them. And they're offering love to people for them to move forward with them the Two of Swords is Libra energy, in a just and fair way, in like truth and love. And if the people in their life aren't willing to move forward with them in that way, from the Five to the Two of Pentacles, letting go of the Three of Pentacles, aligning with your more worldly foundation of self, they're going to pick up their investment in those people and maintain balance within themselves about moving forward to find the people in their world who are on that same page as them. And The Five of Pentacles is Taurus energy that has to do with our philosophy of life. They're going to tell people their truth, offer love to people if their intuition and the other people seem to be juggling, like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do love or if I want to be more about myself or these other things, then I think they're going to pick up their investment in those people. And then we have the Four of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles, and the reason it came out is because of the Five of Wands. The Four of Pentacles talks about we can be sad. We're sad that some people aren't willing to work together with us from love. And that's what we want to invest in our Taurus energy, in our philosophy of life. And though we can have love for those people, if we have people in our life in the Five of Wands that are still operating from their more shadowy Leo egoic nature of competitiveness, inner conflict, I'm kind of more about myself. I like to try to manipulate people. I like to control people. That's my philosophy of life. Then they don't want to keep investing in those people anymore. The high vibe people are also harnessing high vibe Cancer, high vibe Taurus, high vibe Leo, and some other people harness those energies in a more worldly, shadowy way. And even though it causes them inner conflict, they're going to take that cup of love to invest in having new beginnings because they've changed. They're not the same person they were before. They've learned some lessons in life and maybe starting to get out of their ego about it. We can all want people to move forward with us in relationship, but how long are we going to stay trying to invest in someone who doesn't want to do love, that has inner conflict about love? And we kind of got to get out of our ego about it, that everybody has free will to live their life whatever way they want. And trying to change people is good to offer people love and encouragement. But am I going to date you? Am I going to marry you? Am I going to keep dating you? Stay married to you when you seem to have inner conflict about love and building a foundation based on love? And that's in the Emperor energy where people are like, I've learned these lessons in life that everybody has the free will to live their life the way they want. I come into contact with all these different people to help me get clear about my truth. And when we initially could have gotten into living our life a certain way, certain jobs or friendships, we could get in relationships thinking, yeah, these people are going to work with me in a just and fair and balanced way. But there might be things in the Two of Swords that we're not seeing clearly. And then as we get to know people, then we can kind of find out that they kind of juggle and they don't really pick a path. Well, I haven't decided yet if I want to do love or if I want to do many. And until I decide, can I just juggle you and not really invest in you? Can't we all stay in denial of the truth that it's supposed to be about love? And people can kind of do that for a long time until they kind of start to see the truth that, we've been moving forward. I've been trying in high vibe Cancer, Leo, and Taurus energy to act with character and integrity, be inspiring, temper my ego nature, not be immature and manipulative, and offering you love. And it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. I thought we were going to bring a dream into reality. And sometimes, again, people harness this energy in a shadowy way. They could think this is just and fair. It works for them. And other people are like, well, this might work for you, but it doesn't work for me. And that's when people decide, life is about learning these lessons and treating other people the way you like to be treated. And if I'm motivated and inspired to be that type of person and I want to be in loving relationships, I'm not willing to stay in something that's unjust and unfair. And maybe some of the people I got in relationship, that is always how they viewed life. And the Pisces Knight of Cups can be where people kind of created an illusion that they were willing to be more emotionally mature and just and fair and act with character and integrity. And then after you move forward with them, you realize that's really not the truth of who they were. But some of them could have been hoping that if I get you in a relationship, which is what Taurus energy can be, get you to take this job, get you to be my friend, get you in a relationship with me. I'm hoping that you'll have inner conflict about believing and adhering to a higher truth and justice. Taurus energy can kind of represent these. We get caught up in our head about these man made rules about what's right or wrong or just or fair. And I think divine energy wants us to listen to a higher truth and justice. This isn't just and fair. We could be tempted to stay in it because, maybe the status, the image, we made a commitment. But if we feel like other people aren't holding up their end of the bargain, or maybe that's never what drove and motivated them to get in it to begin with. Some people in a more shadowy Two of Swords of Libra energy, they don't want to see the truth that this is kind of their mode of operating in a relationship. Oh, look, here's someone who feels left out in the cold in the Five of Pentacles, looking for someone to invest in, maybe sad because something didn't work out the way they wanted, right? So I'm going to go present myself as like this loving person. Oh, I'll bring your dreams into reality. And then, but that never really was their intention. They always planned to kind of use their emotions and maybe their sexuality and their resources in the world to try to manipulate people. I want to get you in a relationship, and then I want you to do it my way. That's shadowy Aries. Like, this is what I think is just and fair. I might have created an illusion because in the Two of Swords, you didn't know the truth about me. And I kind of use that to my advantage. And if you haven't learned to listen to your intuition, and we've all got lessons learned in our listening to our intuition, and we want these things of the world. So, we have hope and faith and belief in the dream, so we get in it. And some people could be giving it their best effort to make it work. And the other person's like, eventually it's like they don't care if you're sad, they don't care if you have inner conflict, because it works for them. It might be good for their ego or their image or their status. They have someone to indulge himself in a relationship with. And that's when you find out in their shadowy Aries energy that they harness that it's really more about them. Their wants, their needs, their lusts, their greed, their pride, their ego. And it's kind of, they don't really care that your dream didn't come into reality because they were maybe never planning to do that, bring that dream into reality anyway. They were maybe never planning to do love, just to create the illusion that they're a loving person, so you would get in the relationship. And then hoping because of ego and all that stuff that you would decide to stay in it instead of listening to a higher truth and justice to guide your decisions. And some people said, no, I adhere to a higher truth and justice, and this is not just and fair. And my intuition is telling me to go on a new journey and go find the people who I do think are on the same page as me, who have learned how to take that cup of love to get out of their more worldly, egoic, or defensive, or immature, or self-centered, or whatever nature, to be someone who kind of acts with character and integrity in a relationship. And if that's not you, then I'm going to go take action and communicate and move forward in my life, finding the people who are on the same page. And some of you could have already gotten out of a relationship like that. And while you were moving forward, again, we come in contact with all these different people to learn lessons in life, and we can be drawn and attracted to certain people because we do have these lessons to learn. Do I love myself? Am I willing to stand up for what I believe in? Have I learned to listen to my intuition? Was my intuition screaming at me back then that I shouldn't get in that relationship, but I did it anyway? Well, lesson learned. I should have listened to my intuition because my intuition was given to me like a gift to use, but we in our human nature of self think we're the boss and we can ignore it. And, it was given to us as a gift, just like bats have sonar to navigate in the dark and birds and butterflies know to fly to a warmer climate when the cold season comes. They don't question it. They listen to it. But we as human beings kind of like, I don't know, kind of God, I want to go do this. I'm tempted, I want these things, or I'm attracted, or whatever. And instead of taking that cup of love, we think, no, 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 this will work. Even though I might have some inner conflict about it, even though they kind of seem to have some certain traits or qualities or characteristics that really don't seem to be in line with me, I think I'm the boss. And then the Justice card talks about we kind of reap what we sow. Maybe not, doesn't mean you had to be like they were, but there's consequences for our actions, is what the Justice card says. And if we were a fool, we went on this journey. That's okay. Life's all about learning lessons. We learn lots of lessons in our life. We just need to realize when we went on a journey to learn a lesson and that this isn't in alignment with our truth. That we can't grow to our full potential in high vibe Aries energy, living our life this way or being in these type of relationships. And so then when some people get out of those relationships, they're kind of wondering, who they want to invest their time, energy, and effort into. And they could think, maybe there's some people in my life that really were more on the same page as me, but because I had these lessons to learn, I could have pushed them away and I didn't get in relationships or friendships, or I got out of relationships and friendships with them. And then high vibe people aren't in their ego about it. They're willing to admit, I made a mistake. I make mistakes. I'm a human being. I had lessons to learn. And now I've learned these lessons and I've learned to maybe be more balanced within myself. The five of wands can be about not being in extremes. I'm kind of tempered because there's a maximum of 10. So 5 is like staying balanced. And I could realize that maybe I hadn't learned to love myself. And, you can be a loving person, but you're repeating an old pattern where, you could reject people who would treat you the same way you treat them, because that's not your comfort zone. And we'll all repeat a pattern until we see the truth of it. And it's like, wait a minute, from the 5 down to the 2 of Pentacles, this might have been my comfort zone, and this might be how I'm used to operating in the world and being in relationships with people who treat me the way I treat them. That's different, not used to that. So I like to stay in my comfort zone. I could have done that. And we repeat it enough times, over and over, we got lots of lessons to learn. That finally we get to the point why do I do this? Why, I have to figure out what is it in my philosophy of life that I keep getting in relationships with people where I could feel manipulated, or in relationships with people who aren't very loving or giving or stubborn or make me feel left out in the cold. What am I not seeing here? Because I can't change other people, but if I don't want to keep repeating this pattern, I need to get to the truth of it and figure this out and deal with my own inner conflict. And part of it can be, do I have this inner conflict about investing in taking that cup of love to love myself and believe in myself and appreciate kind of what I bring to the table and believe I do deserve to be treated with love and respect and kindness and compassion and empathy and be treated the way I treat other people? And that's when we offer love to ourselves and then we change. We're not the same person we were before. Before, again, we had these lessons to learn, but in our philosophy of life, we maybe weren't really standing up for ourselves to get the justice we deserve because maybe we didn't think we deserved it. And we go through these life experiences to finally get to where I do deserve a just and fair relationship. And based on all these lessons I've learned and learning how to listen to my intuition and love myself and maintain balance within myself and not let myself get tipped out of a balance and kind of enabling poor behavior in myself or poor behavior in others, I'm going to start maintaining balance within myself and being inspired. High vibe Emperor energy is like having learned these lessons in the 4 suits of the deck: the heart, the mind, the worldly life, and the creative, inspired, passionate life. we had to go on all these journeys, is what the Fool card talks about. I went out and I let my heart run my life. And the other three aspects of my life, it was like they weren't important. Oh my God, I love them. And then we can get where we're all up in our mind, our emotions, and we're defensive. And then we're letting our mind run our life. And the other aspects of our life are kind of going in the toilet. And we have to go on all these journeys to learn these lessons that all these aspects of myself are equally important. And when I realize that I can't just let my heart run my life, if it isn't just and fair and balanced, if people aren't being like authentic or loving or stable or grounded, or it's not creative and inspired, and I have all these aspects to me and they're all equally important. And so when we've kind of run our life off into the ditch in all these different directions learning these lessons, that's when it's kind of like love unifies us and we're more in the center instead of going out on all these edges of, oh my God, my heart runs my life. Oh my God, my lustful nature runs my life, or my immature nature. It's like I need to stay unified in love for all aspects of myself, take them all into consideration. And it's kind of like justice and fairness is about balance and moderation. Yes, I want these things of the world. Am I willing to sacrifice loving relationships for it? No. Could I have before? Maybe. We're young. We all want to go do all these things. And now, as we get older and more mature and have learned these lessons, it is about more moderation, taking all these things into consideration based on the lessons I've learned. And I've incorporated all of those into my philosophy of life. And instead of being more maybe tipped out of balance, where being more about myself or these things of the world kind of running my life, or my fear or my ego, that has to sit in the back seat now, because I'm investing in my more loving nature, because I realize that kept me stuck and caused me a lot of inner conflict. And now I let my loving nature kind of run my life. Not my shadowy Aries energy, but my high vibe Aries energy. I maintain balance within myself, and I'm going to go on this journey to go find the people who are in my life. The people that are in my life that are willing to do this with me, those are the people I'll keep doing this journey with. If there's some people in my life right now that I'm offering love and encouragement to, and they're not sure if they want to make decisions in a relationship, taking everyone into consideration affected by their decisions, and do what's just and fair, well, then they can go invest in someone else. And I'm going to go invest in people, and if those people want to come with, then they can come with, so long as they're in this high vibe energy. If they're not, then no. And as you're moving forward, you're going to meet people, and those people are going to have to consider, so in shadowy energy, I can't manipulate you. You're not going to tip the scales, kind of more in my favor, where it's more about me. I can't control you. I can't tempt you, kind of more in your lust and your greed or whatever codependency to stay in a relationship with me. I'd have to be just and fair. Some of those people will turn their back and say, no, you go on ahead. I'm going to keep doing this. And other people that you could meet and other people who could approach you, you're going to go through that same process. And people are going to go through that process with you. And high vibe people and you in high vibe energy, as you approach people and as people approach you and people you meet in your future or presently, you're going to maybe, not really offer someone a cup of love right away. I mean, you can get to know people. The wands can talk about communication. The Knight of Cups can be friendly gestures of getting to know people, but it's trying to figure out what their truth is before you invest more into them. Do you stay in the friend category, or are we going to get to know each other more? And once you have gotten to know what the truth is of them, listening to your intuition now, you and other people in the world who are in high vibe energy will consider if they want to offer you a couple love to maybe go on a journey together to see if you're more compatible. Now, the shadowy people in the world are probably, and more worldly focused people, they might be people who it's like, I'm looking for someone who hasn't taken that cup of love, who hasn't learned to love themselves. I'm looking for someone who might have inner conflict, who might be in their ego, might be competitive, might be prideful, might be egotistical. If I don't want to align with my more loving, hopeful, believing nature and being in more deep, meaningful relationships, and I kind of want to play and indulge myself in the world, I need to find someone who I think might feel left out in the cold, is juggling, hasn't learned to love themselves, has some inner conflict about loving and believing in themselves, and I'll go invest in that person. And I'll go indulge myself in that relationship until we go through this whole process again. Oh shit. Here's another person who somewhere along the journey decided to invest in loving themselves and working through some of their inner conflict. And they work through some of their fears and their insecurities and their self-limiting beliefs and past pain and heartbreak. And now they want this more like emotionally mature relationship that's more just and fair. They're ready to go on to like the next level of a relationship. You got to go. No, I'm going to go find someone else who might feel left out in the cold and sad, and I'll go try to present myself as loving to them. Present myself as harnessing high vibe Aries energy so that people will get in a relationship with me, but I don't really harness high vibe Aries energy. But again, they could think that it's just and fair to be that way. Create the illusion that you're a more emotionally mature, stable, grounded, balanced, loving person than they really are in order to get people in a relationship. And they could just think everybody does that, don't they? Not everybody does. you know, Maybe 50% of the people do to some degree, and some are worse than others in their being bossy or stubborn or unjust or unfair or unloving. Some people are more in denial of the truth about their bad habits than some other people, you know? And for some people, it's just can get down to where how we want to move forward in life is different and what we kind of think we enjoy or what we think is just and fair. Not everybody is an awful, immature person, but, eventually in a relationship, we have to decide, do I want to keep investing in this? We've all changed what you enjoy doing and versus what we all like to do maybe when we first got together and we're hanging out. Everybody's kind of went their different ways. It's like, I don't know if I even want to keep pursuing this friendship or relationship anymore because we're kind of have competing interests in different things, especially if it's a friendship. I might like to spend more time with my family. They might like to spend time more with theirs or, something like that. I'm sure you get the idea. But in a romantic relationship, it really gets down to kind of what we think is just and fair. And some people think they should be able to take foolish risks in a relationship. And some people do. Well, can't I have this illusion I can leave you out in the cold. I might know you love me, and I think it'll confuse you. And I'm going to quit like paying attention to you, and maybe I'll go invest in some other people. The Five of Wands can mean the competition. And I think it's just and fair for me to go do that. I want you to sit here stuck juggling until I see if this works out. If this works out, I might move forward with them. But if it doesn't work out, then I might want to come back and be in a relationship with you because you still don't want to see the truth about me, right? Because you love me and you wanted this to work. And even though I did something that was unjust, unfair, selfish, greedy, prideful, immature, I took a risk in a relationship to not make good decisions in it. Can I come back? You know, and everybody has to decide that for themselves. If people made a mistake and you've moved on in life, and then maybe did they see the truth? Or did that just not work out the way they want? And now they want to come back and get in a relationship with you. It's like, I'm not the same person I was before. And I think, the kind of relationship we have right now, it works for me. I think, we've kind of found a new level that seems appropriate. And for some people, you wouldn't want to get back in a friendship or relationship with them. It's easier to extend grace to a family member, a friend, a coworker, but someone that you had like a more intimate relationship where you were expecting people to make mature, just and fair decisions and not take some foolish risk in a relationship that was hurtful and unkind. And then there's some people that purposely do that. I don't like you kind of standing up in a way for yourself and loving yourself and being more balanced. I'm purposely going to do things and ignore you and turn my back to you because I want you to be in this inner conflict and sad. And if you're in that energy, then I'll be in a relationship with you. But if you're going to stay in this energy, no. So when you're moving forward in life and you could meet people or communicate with people they know the truth of who they are. You might not know the truth about who some of them are. And you could wonder, why aren't these people wanting to invest in this relationship with me? Well, for some, they're already in high vibe relationships of their own, and they're not going to take a foolish risk to, why would they get out of one high vibe relationship to kind of get in another high vibe relationship? That would be weird, you know? And so they wouldn't. But other people know that they do kind of like to juggle people and are more manipulative. And if they know they wouldn't be able to do that with you, that's why they're turning their back to you, because no, thank you for thinking I was that type of person. Pisces energy can be, you kind of had illusions about people being maybe more emotionally mature than they were, but they know the truth of who they are. And that's why they maybe wouldn't invest in you. And some people are like, I'm going to turn my back to them and we'll see if they like reach out again, even though you probably already spoke your truth in love to them about the lessons you've learned and how you're moving forward now. But it's like, well, they seem to be pretty mature now. I don't know if I want to do that, but if I turn my back to them, which can be a foolish risk, I think maybe they'll keep pursuing me. And some high vibe people are like, I'm not chasing people anymore. You're either on the same page as me, with me, and this is something you're interested in. And if I already made you an offer to move forward with me in this way, and you're not moving forward with me in that way, I'll assume you're in a wonderful relationship of your own, or possibly you're trying to keep me stuck in this energy while you're doing whatever you're doing. And it's like, I'm not going to keep staying stuck. I can give people time to think about it, but eventually I'm going to move forward to manifest what I want to manifest in my life. And if you're not communicating with me and putting in work and effort with me to bring this dream into reality, then I have to assume you're not the person for me. And God must have someone else planned for me, so I get out of my ego about it. So what's coming up for the high vibe people in high vibe Aries energy that they might not see coming up? The Ace of Cups. Why? Because of the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords, we've learned to listen to our intuition. In the Seven of Swords, they're holding the Five of Swords, and they're climbing this mountain, this obstacle, this roadblock, and they're listening to their intuition. Because we've got to realize that some people are thinking we won't keep believing in ourselves and believing in our dreams. And so if they don't offer us a cup of love, aren't communicating with us, aren't investing in us when we have maybe made them an offer, then they're hoping we won't overcome that. And we'll just sit there in case whatever they are investing their time, energy, and effort into doesn't work. You're like the backup plan. And people are like, no, I've learned that love is the answer. I'm going to wish them peace and love. I don't know what they got going on in their life. I'm going to stay in the energy of love, and I'm going to not let anyone be an obstacle in my life. If I do know people who are prideful, egotistical, manipulative, unloving, stubborn, wanting to get in a relationship with someone else, I'm going to wrap my brain around that and overcome it and keep focused on my dream and keep listening to my intuition and the Ace of Cups is saying you will have this new beginning. It does take time to work through that mental confusion, especially if you viewed someone as someone who you thought would act with character and integrity, because that's how they kind of presented themselves as being, maybe for years. And then they completely didn't act like that. And that's when it can be, you know, you kind of realize they're just a little bit more about themselves. And you work through that mental confusion, you offer love to it to heal, and accept that, they can go live their life whatever way they want. But if they act like that and they don't have character and integrity, they're not who I thought they were. So I don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore. And I think you'll go on this new journey because you were meant to learn a lesson from this life experience, and you learned which people to work with in the Three of Pentacles and which people not to work with because of what drives and motivates them and things like that. And you learn the lesson, so you get to go on this new journey. While they repeat an old pattern, different people, different faces, you've learned that lesson and you don't have an interest in repeating that pattern of relationship anymore. And you get to go on this new journey to learn new lessons. And they didn't learn the lesson they were meant to learn, so they have to repeat it again. And they've maybe been repeating it for 5 years, and they'll keep repeating it until they ever want to align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And some people never will. I don't want to do love. I get hurt doing love. I want to make it more about me, people indulging me, or I'll indulge someone else. If these things of the world are more important to me than love, then I pick these things of the world, or I pick me over other people. So what's coming up for the people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Pisces energy or Aries energy that they don't see coming? The Page of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. So, when people act like this to some degree, in whatever way, with all these different lessons people have to learn in life, we want to hang out with people who've kind of learned some of the same lessons we've learned about how to play nicely with others. And eventually they have people who just wish them peace and leave. The Two of Pentacles, again, can be, I'm going to pick up my investment in you and I'm going to maintain balance within myself. And I'm going to give some thought and consideration to who I do want to be in a relationship with, because there's something about this relationship that I kind of feel left out in the cold and juggled. And I don't really feel like it's love. I could feel like you're trying to emotionally manipulate me. And it's causing me inner conflict. And so eventually people say, you know what? I've gotten to a place of balance about it. I wish you peace. That's the Page of Cups. You go live your life, and I'm going to go live my life. And for some of the people, people can struggle with making that decision for a long time, and everybody has to listen to their own intuition, because we don't want to make that decision and then kind of keep going back, and then kind of that addictive reinforcement thing. We want to be sure that we're clear about our decision when we do that. And we all have to make that decision in our own time. You could know some people that you would like to be in a relationship with, and you could feel like, I don't know, either just even other people in their life that they invest in, which could be their original family or their friend group, or they make their job more important. They're not ready to not make those things more important in their life. And, or if it's drugs or alcohol or immaturity or ego or defensiveness, whatever it is, they're not ready. And until they're ready, they're not going to do it. And like I say, they may never do it. And that's when other people are like, I have a dream I want to bring into reality. And apparently we're on different pages. We have different dreams, different things that motivate us. And I wish you peace, and I'm going to pick up my investment, and I'm going to go find people who are on the same page as me. And they could be surprised because, people could have a lot of status, image, social clout, could have been married, wanted to get married, stability, security, or whatever like that. those people would maybe never give those things up. They think if they were in a relationship with someone who had those things, they'd maybe be willing to indulge that person for those things. And so they think you should. And people are like, but those things that have so much power over you don't have that importance, as much importance in my life. I value love, and maybe you don't. So you're maybe more about indulgence or competitive, or keeping up with the Joneses is more important to you, and your ego and your image or status or something, and that really isn't what I just want to enjoy my life in a loving, balanced way with, everybody puts work and effort to have some stability and security and maybe enjoy the finer things in life. When's enough? And for some people, enough is never enough. Having enough power and influence, having enough money, indulging in enough things, getting enough attention. It's like an addiction. It's never enough. And some people could see the truth of that too. Another thing they might not see coming is there's going to be other people who want to get in a relationship with them. And if they get, because people are looking for people to get in a relationship with, that if they get in a relationship with another person that kind of has hope and faith and belief and love, eventually the same scenario is going to play out again. Because these people juggle people and they don't really invest in people. And they might be emotionally immature. And they might be kind of codependent or want other people to be codependent on them. Like, I'm the parent, you're the child. And this is the dynamic I like. And I should be the boss. And you should listen to me. And don't ever fly out of the nest to live your own life. You should make your life all about my life. Children grow up. Some people think they want that kind of relationship dynamic, but that's the thing. Eventually, like, even children rebel against their parents. They want to live their own authentic life, and some of these people, shadowy Aries, can be controlling. I want to control things. I do not want to let love and intuition guide my decisions. I'm going to try to control everything. That makes me feel more balanced and in control of things. But eventually, they might end up getting in a relationship with someone who's like themselves. Someone who says, I want to be in a relationship with you. Why? Because I juggle too. I kind of go back and forth. I can't decide what I want to do. Do I want to do love? Do I want to do indulgence or money? I like to be two-faced and not really pick a path either. And then they could get in a relationship and both people could end up sad and have inner conflict, but they're not willing to pick a path, and they both could be kind of more about themselves than working together in a just and fair way. And then there's a lot of conflict and fighting because they both, if you're not going to work together in a just and fair way, people kind of want it, the scales tipped in their favor. And then they could be in a relationship with someone who's like them. Well, no, I want to be the boss. You should defer to me. No, I should be the boss. You should defer to me. And they might be people who have to keep going back and forth of kind of deferring to each other in order to try to keep some peace in the relationship. But maybe none of them authentically offer love. And then it's for them to decide, maybe finally get in a relationship with someone who's like themselves, to decide, maybe to make them see, sometimes you don't see how you are in a relationship till someone kind of mirrors that back to you. And then it's like, oh, wow, some of the things that are coming out of my mouth are things the last person used to say to me. Oh my gosh, is this what it was like being in a relationship with me? Am I like them? No, I don't think I'm like them, And they could keep wanting to stay in denial of the truth. And some people want to juggle forever. I don't really want to authentically invest emotionally in people. So I'm two-faced. I present the illusion I'm high vibe, but really I'm a little bit more about myself and maybe my ego and my image. But until you see the truth of it, I'll indulge in the relationship. It's good for my ego and my image for as long as it lasts. And when you want me to bring justice to the situation and make better decisions, I'll turn my back on you and I'll go find someone else to juggle. And that's how some people want to live their life. So there you go, Aries energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.